Well, hello and welcome to Crappy Hour. I'm Ronnie and that's Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing there, baby?
I'm great. I'm so excited for today's Crappy Hour.
Yes, we have a very special guest. Ben, why don't you tell the lovely people all
Well,
about it?
our guest is the host of the Sarah Fraser Show. Spoiler, sort of gives you a clue into who it is. I was on her show last week, and now
B. Arthur.
Estelle Getty, the ghost of Estelle Getty. Happy Spooktober. So without further ado, please welcome to Crappy Hour, Sarah Fraser. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Ben, Ronnie, I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're really excited to have you on here, especially because we're catching you right as you're sort of lightly in our gossip Bravo cycle at the moment, which I was really delighted by when I was looking at some of the links today.
I know, right? I have a direct line currently to Jimmy Bellino, so we'll have a lot to chat about.
Yes. Can you tell everyone where they can find your podcast and all that good stuff and social media before we forget later on?
Yes. So I drop a podcast episode daily on the Sarah Fraser Show. You can get it everywhere you get your pods. You guys, I open my Apple app and there's top podcaster, watch where Crappens, and then you scroll way down. And then there's the Sarah Fraser Show. So,
Okay.
you'll find it. Apple, Spotify, everywhere. And I cover a mix of everything from Bravo. I do love TLC shows like Sister Wives. It is a guilty pleasure. So you'll get a mix of everything.
God, those sister wives are still going, huh? You know, that Robin, we've sure seen a change in Robin. I remember when that show first came out, I was a TV recapper and I had to do a few episodes of Sister Wives. And it was right when they were getting Robin and she was like dating him and deciding that she was going to be a sister wife. And she was like a totally different person. And everybody was like, oh my God, Robin's a pretty one. Robin gets everything. No, no, no. And now Robin's just miserable with babies hanging all over the place. I mean, if you that's like a trajectory if I've ever seen one. Poor Robin, she's always crying.
Sobbing. I mean, have you ever seen anyone so miserable on television? I mean, and she looks like
Bethany Frankel.
Bethany.
No, this lady's worse. Trust me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ronnie, isn't it wild? And she looks like she smokes a pack a day, is like a major alcoholic. I mean, just everything has fallen. I mean, not that I can say much, but it's like everything is sagging. I know, what a complete transition.
Well, yeah, the sagging and stuff I won't make a comment on, but figuratively, that soul is sagging. That is a sad, sad lady. I've never seen somebody, and you know what? She didn't look too happy before, because I remember before it was like, well, we're gonna help me because she has a daughter. Didn't she have a daughter when she came into the marriage?
She came into the marriage with 3 kids from a
with kids. And they were like, we have to help. He was like, I'm basically having a charity by getting a 4th wife, guys. Like, it's not that I need another woman to bang. We need to help her children. And they're like, okay, whatever. And she didn't look happy then either. So it's not like he had the happiest of brides. But goddamn, did she get depressed? My God, I want to eat ice cream just watching it. I feel sad. I feel mascara running down my face just thinking about it.
Well, you're not alone, Ronnie. A lot of people feel exactly how you feel. And I was trying to figure this out. I wonder, they're in their 19th season.
What?
Yes.
Do they do multiples per year? Have to be.
Yes.
Right?
And do you know they've been going since 2010? And I'm like, God, are they getting up there as like one of the longest running reality shows?
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Wow.
They're definitely up there because that was back in the heyday of reality TV. Okay, let's move on to some Bravo stories, shall we? Why don't we start off with this Elizabeth Vargas, our show tune queen, who used to be a cabaret star when she met her first rich husband.
Undeniable, Elizabeth Vargas Rivers.
Supposedly dating Jim Bellino. What's up with that?
Yeah,
wasn't the picture? Like I was blown because that photo dropped. I think he was on my podcast. We released the episode last Tuesday. Then that picture dropped to like Wednesday. I was like, he didn't tell me this. And they looked awfully cozy. So I hit up Jim and I was like, so what's the story? Are you two dating? You said you weren't dating anyone. And he said, absolutely not. We are not dating. I'm single.
So did he explain any of the coziness? What was it, just like 2 friends being cozy together?
Well, they did go out on a date, is what he told me. They did, in fact, go
Oh.
out on a date, but they are not dating. I think the way the TMZ story had broke it, that they had been dating for a while, that they'd gone out on a couple of dates. That part, he says, is not true.
How was Jim Bellino as a guest? Do you feel like he is forthcoming about this sort of stuff? Do you feel like he's being honest? Like, could you gauge in like as much of a capacity as you can when you have a guest on your show? Like, do you feel like he was being like truthful about this?
Yeah, look, we all have watched for years, and Jim was not well liked, came off as controlling, came off as uber religious, but he said on the episode he's gone to therapy, he's done a lot of work on himself, and he's not religious anymore.
Really?
He lives in Palm Springs, and he credits, he says,
No, I like it's like, yeah, no, he's not religious. He moved to Palm Springs.
Yeah, he moved to the city where there are more people on their knees per capita than any other in the country.
He lost his passion for Christ and went to Palm Springs.
That'll do it. Well, yeah, people in chat are saying, yeah, that was an old picture.
Oh my
Stuff like that. So this is a post from Elizabeth that came out today. I love everybody. I'm okay. I'm just tired. I apologize for this week. It's terrible news that's untrue. So I don't know.
That's untrue.
I don't know what she's talking about because she's always got a bucket full of terrible news, But I don't know if she's referring to the Jim Bellino thing or not. But yeah, I'm sure that caused some backlash because even I was like, how dare you, Elizabeth? How dare you?
And yet, weren't you kind of like a little excited because it's already such a clusterfuck on Orange County with this whole Alexis and Johnny J situation, and to add Elizabeth Vargas into the mix, I was like, oh my god, we are looking at the next great season next year. And so to know that this is actually not a thing makes me a little bit sad.
I think no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it was funny because it's actually ironic because when he was on my show, I did say to him, wouldn't the ultimate thing to do would be to go to Johnny, Jay's wedding with Alexis and show up with Shannon Bedore. And, he did like a role he did. He was like, stop. I was like, well, I mean, that would be like a scene. So I'm with you, Ben. Like that would have been, we would have been glued.
Did he sue you afterwards? He was like, I'm suing you for defamation in my brain. You defamed my fantasy.
I'm sure tomorrow, like the lawsuit will be emailed. Yeah, I mean, look, you can't get blood from a stone. So, let's go, Jimmy, but maybe that's coming.
Apparently, Kelly Dodd was on Jeff Lewis and said Elizabeth wanted to meet with Jim about putting vodka in his restaurants. So there you go. We have an answer.
Oh.
So now let's move on because you're close with some of these Potomac ladies, eh? Let's talk about Miss Karen Huger. Oh.
No, I was going to say, before we get out of Orange County, there was one other headline I wanted to discuss. This way we don't have to ping pong back and forth to Orange County. There was an article in the mix saying that Orange County is getting really high ratings this season, but that the Alexis is being received so poorly that they're not sure, like she might get fired as a result of it. Do you guys think Alexis Bellino should be fired, or maybe refrain?
Yes, get rid of her.
Should she come back for next
nothing.
season?
What's she gonna do? Keep sleeping with people's ex? That lady brings nothing. Get her the hell out of here. She can't even string a sentence together. Hate her accent when she's sad. Get her out.
Wow. I was gonna say bring
right. Go ahead. Please feel comfortable.
Hit her accent when she's sad.
Feel comfortable disagreeing.
I was gonna say bring her back. I mean, clearly, Jesus Jugs is like, don't you love her back in the mix? I know everyone hates her, but I want to see how this plays out with John Jansen. I mean, what does he do? Is this wedding going to be a huge Bravo wedding? I want to see it, but I did read that too, Ben, that she's sort of on the chopping block.
Yeah, she is sort of in a love to hate category for me, which is I think she's like so vile. She's so terrible. And yet I find this dynamic very compelling. So I actually would like her back. Controversially.
Well, thank God you two can't vote in America. We'd be screwed. Yeah, I just don't think she really brings anything fun. I mean, she's had a chance. She's not fun. I don't think she has any good lines. She's not fun to watch fight. She's just kind of a dumb. She's just kind of a dum. Get rid
Hey,
of her, I say.
Has no good lines. She's fun time Lexi. What are you talking about? She's nothing but a
Fun
barrel of
Lexi,
laughs and
yeah.
fun.
Who wants a good time? If you want a good time, this girl. But also
Okay.
she's just a friend of, so it's not like, oh no, the biggest firing in the world. You know, they
Yeah.
often don't bring friends up
Well,
back.
Okay, wait. I'm curious. What do you guys think as experts? Do you think they're going to bring her back full time? Because that was one of the things that Jimmy said on the podcast episode. He told her, do not come back unless they bring you back as a full time cast member. And he's also suggested to her that she doesn't come back at all. He obviously has a real hatred for the show. But do you guys think they would make her a full time cast member?
I don't think they would make Alexis full time. I think that Shannon's too important to them, and I think that would be a blow to Shannon.
And I don't think she's earned it. I mean, what is that really? But what is that in this world? But I don't think she's earned it. I don't think she's really been entertaining enough. And she's tried. I think that the audience smells a try hard. I think like coming on the show by dating someone's ex is so low. Like Shannon's, the way she's doing it with John, and then the whole blackmailing thing or the extortion thing, I think it's just so low and it's so thirsty and it's so sad and it's all for a friend of role. And I think that people don't really respect that, not that we have to respect our housewives, but you have to have some kind of like for your Real Housewives, right? I mean, even the bad ones, you're supposed to kind of love to hate or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know if everyone's filled with as much disdain as me.
I think a lot of people
I
are.
often wonder that about every topic in life. So I
think more people are in your camp, Ronnie. I think, and I will say this, I don't think that she'd be a good full-time housewife. I actually didn't think she was a very good full-time housewife the first time around. I think as a friend of, that's more her lane. You just get like kind of all you need from her, which is her to sort of arrive, be vapid, say something dumb, and then go. We don't have to sit through like endless scenes of her trying to design maxi dresses again. It's the same way how I feel like Vicky is actually much better in a friend of role. Like, so I don't think she should come back as a full-time housewife. I do enjoy her as this really obnoxious friend of that comes in and torments half of them. But like, if she goes, it's fine. But I think I would like her to stay.
Well, you two, good luck to you two. That's
Thank
what
you.
I say. Good luck to you, Sarah. Good luck to you, Ben. I love you both. Even if you get your way on this one, I'll love you guys and support you. Okay.
Ronnie, come over to the island, baby. Come on over.
Nope, busy. Okay,
all right,
so
Potomac time.
Let's talk. Yeah, we don't need. Yeah. So Karen Huger, here we are, some Karen Huger stuff. Karen Huger, this is from In Touch Weekly. Karen Huger accuses police of illegal search in DUI case as she fights to suppress evidence. Okay, this is, according to documents, she doesn't want them to introduce certain evidence. Okay, let's see. Back in March, car accident, blah, 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 driving alone, blah, blah, blah. Driving in an aggressive manner, too fast for the conditions, blah, blah, blah. This is so good what ends up happening. I'm sorry I'm blah, blah, blahing a lot. Okay. She said 3 took her to the ambulance to do a wellness check. Karen said she sat in the ambulance for a few minutes, but refused further medical treatment. She said her husband arrived at the scene and she exited the ambulance and walked to the curb. The Reality Star's lawyer said after Karen exited the ambulance, Sergeant grabbed Karen by the arm and told her and her husband that she is not free to leave. Then the sergeant began to interrogate Karen by asking her incriminating questions, such as, wait for this, this is rough. Where were you coming from and where are you going? You guys, what are we going to do about
I'm coming from 5'9" and I'm heading to 20.
They literally ask everybody that every time they're pulled over.
Invasive questioning.
You do not have the right. Where have I been? I pay taxes.
I'm going to my very prestigious award given by Subway delicatessen shops.
Because you were in an accident and appear to be impaired, you are not free to leave. So that means that he is in violation of her Fourth Amendment right and provided answers that the couple possibly incriminate her at a trial. So she's saying that he is making her answer whether or not she's drunk, which could incriminate herself. Therefore, her Fourth Amendment is being trampled on. You got to love this lady.
Yes.
The
she cracks me up. And by the way, this was ultimately thrown out. The judge was like, no, because they were also saying, did not read her Miranda rights, and the judge was like, no, these questions were not asked in like a, I think, custodial manner. Is that the right term for it? Like she was not asked these questions after having been arrested. So like these were questions that were part of like a normal roadside investigation where you don't need a Miranda rights. So the judge basically was like, no, nice try, Karen. Sarah, have you dealt with Karen Huger at all when you were in DC?
I have, and Karen's been on the pod. I
yeah?
enjoy, yes.
Tell us everything.
Well, the Grand Dame is just as you would expect. And actually, I did a perfume event with the Grand Dame at Bloomingdale's, which sort of turned into like a twerking party and me doing like really bad stand-up comedy. I don't think she wanted to be there, but she was clearly getting paid, so she had to stay. But Karen's always lovely. I mean, I actually think Karen is the most what you see on camera is what you get off.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do feel for Ray Ray. I mean, poor Ray Ray. Like, how many times has that man got to come and get her ass out of like trouble? This man, all he wants to do is look like he wants to sleep. And I mean,
or play golf in Florida.
Golf, I know. And yet now he's got to go walk with her to a trial. But no, I mean, Karen was great. I was trying to think of what was like big that she said on the podcast because it's been a couple of years. But she was just kind of very similar to what she is.
She is, I mean, she is great. She is hilarious. And I think that like Karen is giving us everything that we wanted when she got this DUI. Like we knew that like, oh, Karen's got a DUI, which means that she's gonna start saying all sorts of slippery things like usually, like, well, I can't talk about it because, there was an Inquisition birthday, and after I was inquisited by you all, I don't want to say anything incriminating against the case where I could have died. Like it's like, what, Karen? It's like very classic Karen Huger.
I know.
After
I
was
love
inquisited.
She couldn't even drive by the scene. Like it was triggering for her. I'm like, girl, okay, like triggering for you. I mean,
you're kidding.
You ought to go by it and say a prayer. Like, thank the Lord you didn't
absolutely.
I haven't seen trees move that much since the Wizard of Oz sequel. They were trying to get the hell out of the way. Crazy ass Karen.
She drove over a median and knocked over some signs, which is not funny. It's only funny when you just like imagine it as some sort of like screwball comedy and Karen Huger's behind the wheel go, oh no, but it's
ma'am, do you know how fast you were going? How dare you? Shooting the police. So yeah, the judge said no. So the big news from this, some leftover news from last week was the Joel Kim apologizing to Shannon, where we all knew it had to come. And in his original rant against Shannon, he was saying, I don't even care if they make me take this down. Fuck them. It's worth it. Fuck you.
Yes.
Fuck you, Pope. Like he really went for it. And so it sounded like no matter what, he was not going to apologize, but he did. He ended up doing it. And it was a very long one. And I was like, well, that's good. Look, I judge controversy based on the quality of an apology because people really need to give them so much. And I felt like he did a pretty good one, but then he followed up in his last Instagram slide with this. The last one says, love our incredible crew and production staff so much, and I would go to war for each and every single one of them. So in other words, I'm sorry I said all that, but it was all true. Fuck her.
It's all worth it. I think.
What do you guys think,
Sarah? Yeah, what do you think about this whole kerfuffle?
I actually agree with Ronnie on this one because I think we all saw it coming, right? We knew everybody from the start was like, oh, he's going to have to be apologizing for that if he wants to stay on the network. And I mean, don't you think it was pretty like what you would expect? Like, Shannon's great. And I know she's been through a hard year and I just was having the worst moment of my, everybody's always having the worst moment of their life. So the worst moment of my life. And, I mean, he played it up and I think he'll be back on Bravo. Don't you guys think?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because I think people we all generally like him. I like him. And I'm also such a pushover for an apology. I am like the worst, like literally the worst person can give the worst apology. I'm like, well, guys, I think that they've really made a change. And I was like, no, what are you talking about, Ben? But I'm always like, no, I think that was good.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, I
was
have an
happy.
announcement. I'd like to apologize for that something about our sandwich review rant. Ben, I was having the worst day of my life.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
Wait,
so what did you do? Because
what
when
happened?
we announced her coming on the show, I read that comment a lot. Like that. Well, I know that she hates something about her. I was like, oh no, you didn't cross something about her. Not on this.
I
What
did.
happened,
Not amongst
Sarah?
us. Not amongst our
did.
people. What
I-
happened?
I went down the opening day for the, to wait in line, right?
Oh, the opening day.
Big mistake.
Classic mistake for
Yeah.
anyone going to a restaurant.
Yeah. But you got to. That's also kind of your job, right? I mean, we didn't go to like how long, Ben? 6 months. 6 months. Like we took forever because we're lazy job doers.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah.
went last week, which was a much
Yeah.
better idea. All right, look, I waited like 4.5 hours. Okay, by the time
Yeah.
I get to and I didn't get a sandwich, and I was probably like 30 people out, and the video started out so positive, and then it just got worse because it was like nobody communicated at the sandwich shop. I stand by this part. I don't think they had a PR rep on site because you guys have been to lots of openings. I've been to Gordon Ramsay's burger opening. Usually they have the stars come out. They hand out a few samples. There's a step and repeat. They're taking pictures. The women that day were actually slicing the bread. They were like putting mayonnaise on the bread. Anyhow, so we were for a while it was moving. And then I would say at like 2:00 when the store closed at 4, it stopped moving. But nobody let us know, like they'd run out of sandwiches. So I was standing with people. I go, I'll go ask. So the woman at the front had no idea, didn't know if they were closing or staying open. And I'm like, people are like thirsty. There's a mom back there carrying a baby. There's like 8 people with dogs and strollers.
Let's be honest. You pulled the old, do you know who I am?
I said, do you know who I am? I'm a D-list podcaster that needs a sandwich. Anyhow, the long and the short was she comes back and she's like, we're closing at 4. We've run out of, and she went down the laundry list of everything they were out of. They had no samples. They had no more water. I lost it. I gave them a terrible review and people are not happy about it.
Do you think you would revise the review?
Well, I got to give them credit. And I did after that because the next day they came out, they were giving out samples. They were giving out water. They were checking on people. So I say, I think, could I have done a different tone? Yeah. Like I'm with Joel here. You know what? My tone was off. I was at this point extremely angry, but I do have to say to the women, just constructive criticism. It was a little strange how disorganized it was considering the level of celebrity they are, knowing that you're going to have a huge turnout. I will stand by that.
Yeah, I think by the time we got there, it felt like more organized. They were coming around with we were standing in line. They came around with like someone working there came around with like glasses of water and stuff, and they had a whole system of like putting you at a table. You go to a table and then you order your food. It was sort of like a fast casual experience, but also you had a table that you were like put at. So it went pretty smoothly on our end. I think that definitely sounds like it was a first few days opening chaos moment. Maybe they should have gone for more of a soft opening or something like that. I probably would have been a crazy person had I waited in line for 4 hours for a sandwich that I never got. I'm not gonna lie, but I am happy to report it. It is our experience was fairly smooth. I think.
Well, really, all you need from me to get a good review is bread, and they had it. So I was like, this place is amazing. They have so much bread. Oh, Jesus.
I am now these days, I'm trying to be better about my Yelp reviews because Ron and I just did a bonus episode a few weeks ago, going through our old Yelp reviews. And like the things I would say about certain businesses is mortifying. I'm realizing now that having a podcast, I really can't just shoot from the hip when it comes to Yelp anymore. I just look I look like the worst person whenever I review restaurants now. Badly,
you're so sweet. I can't even imagine. And you guys are so tongue in cheek. I can't imagine. I mean, Ronnie, maybe, but I mean, I can't imagine you two giving a bad review. No,
his are at least eloquent. Mine are like, this sucks. Like my Amazon reviews are 1 star. I hate you. You smell, Mine are completely immature. His are a soliloquy on how much you suck and why you suck.
Well, someone says it's not. Someone says it's not their fault they ran out of food. Leave the line if it isn't moving. And someone says, who goes to a restaurant on opening day?
Hey, you're getting me fired up. This
But-
is a lot of I'm gonna argue with your fans. I would have left the line, but they didn't come out. If they had come out and said at 2:00, look, we're sorry. This was a huge success. We are only down to the PB&J. You are not going to get in. You're not going to get seated. I would have left. Nobody communicated with that until like 3:58 when the girl came out and said, yeah, there you can hang out for a photo, but there's no food left. It's like, ma'am, that would have been helpful 2 hours ago. We're sweating and we're starving. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have told you that they ran out of food.
All right. Well, that's old. That's old anyway. I just wanted to hear kind of what the controversy was because I didn't know. But
Well,
let's.
now you do. And that was a terrible apology, and you can put me on the list.
No,
as well.
listen. I think I forgive you. I mean, I wasn't really mad.
We
but
forgive
I
you.
forgive you. And listen, as someone who, it's our right as Americans to leave bad reviews. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it's also people's right to say "fuck you." I hated your review, I guess, but
We-
I forgive you, and I forgive Joel too because everybody deserves a drunken day where they're just like, fuck all of you people. I hate
Yeah.
you. And I hated working with you. And I think there's a part of all of us that at least felt like, God, I've wanted to do. I mean, I have done it. I'm sure you can imagine. But I'm sure all of us are like, God, I wish I did that today. You know,
Mhm.
what a fun jaunt that was.
When you were there, and I know we're moving on, but when you were there, was there a photo of me in the back kitchen with a red accent? Because I do actually want to try the sandwiches, but I'm scared.
We had to sign. We had to take an oath that if we ever spoke to you, we would never come back to something.
They
about
don't
her.
use
So-
they don't use the term 86 when they're out of something. They just say, hey guys, we're Fraser, the tomato sandwich. So
I know there's a photo back there. Ann's got it up there. Oh,
next
by the way,
up, Tamara being on the spectrum. So this was from a couple weeks ago already, but God, this lady is so crazy. She's getting really hammered on Orange County for just being a dick, which honestly, I don't know why she's so surprised. She's a dick. She's always been a dick. That's the reason she's on the show, is that she's a dick.
Benedict
But now
Arnold.
suddenly the public backlash is bothering her. But she came out and she did the whole
Teddy, I have a story to tell you. I went to therapy one time this week and I found out I'm on the spectrum.
you do not get diagnosed in 15 minutes about being on the spectrum. Well, needless to say, the internet went crazy against Tamara. And she immediately, of course, started crying. And she's like,
Sorry, I guess I should have thought about it a little bit more, guys.
and she's still out there apologizing. What say you? This is the apology crappy hour.
Grading apologies.
Let's judge apology.
On a scale of 1 to Joel Kim Booster, how is Tamara's apology?
We've forgiven 2 people so far. This
I
is
know.
the third apology. Who should we forgive?
Are you gonna slam the door behind you on the Apology Express?
I didn't realize I was going with the theme. Sarah, what say you? Do you accept the apology? Do you not accept the apology?
man, she's so hard to like this season. I mean, so hard, right? It's just in that Jennifer Pedantry scene with, doing the background check and swearing on her kids' lives. You know what? Actually, this made me proud of the internet because I thought collectively people came together and all said, of course, we all take someone's diagnosis of being on the spectrum seriously. But in this case, it's Tamara. And nobody believed it. I actually thought it was a moment where everybody united. Like, this woman is using this as an excuse to potentially save her job. And, come on, guys. She's a smart woman. Why would you ever say that fresh out of a therapy session? I mean, that's like a huge diagnosis. That's not like something. Yeah. I don't really have anything redeeming to say. Now, we're about forgiving tonight. So I'm sure next season maybe she'll come back, but it's very hard to like Tamara right now.
Yes, it really
Yeah,
truly
she's really
is. Ben, what
swinging
say
and
you?
missing. She's swinging and missing. I don't believe the diagnosis, and I agree. Like, those are serious diagnoses, and normally I really wouldn't question someone like about something like this. That's of this magnitude that pertains to like their mental health, or I don't know if it qualifies as mental health or not, but either way. But because it's Tamara, there is definitely a like batshit cried wolf element that's going on, and so I'm like, the timing is just too suspect for me to to not be skeptical of it.
I think we
she's-
might be getting sick as a country of hearing people use this victim shit to get out of bad behavior. And it's been a trend that's been going on for a while now. And I think the trend might be coming to an end where it's like, okay, well, I'm sorry you're on the spectrum. You still can't be like that. Sorry. I think that there might be a stopper coming where we're just like, okay, the victim shit has gone too far. Stop it. You don't get to just make up the lying victim too. Let me specify. But just using that shit as an excuse, I think is not flying anymore. So I like it. I don't forgive her, but you know what? I never really do. That's how I roll. I'm still mad about Naked Wasted. So
yeah, she's really having a terrible season. She's really having like a hilariously terrible season. Everything with Jen this past week was really exceptional. Like Jen really handled her, and I can't wait to see how next week turns out. But Tamara just basically lies and, oh no, I never did a background check, and then she does. And then I saw that there's a clip that I actually meant to go back and watch it when I saw the headline, but basically it was like an extended view of that scene. Maybe it's gonna come up on next week, where Jen goes up to Heather Dubrow and is like, look, you were livid when someone suggested that your paparazzi photo was staged, and now you're like chill when Tamara is like doing background checks on people. Like, what's going on with that? Which I think was actually a really good point by Jen to go after Heather on that front, because Heather has taken this whole thing like that's inappropriate, for Katie to go digging up stuff about the paparazzi stuff. So Heather's indignation should surface here as well.
I think Tamara really was banking on all of us turning on Shannon, that all of us would be like, hold her feet to the fire with that DUI. And, she absolutely took the money from Johnny J. And it's just totally backfired. It's backfired. And unfortunately, it spills over into her interviews and her podcast. It just, there's nothing really redeemable yet.
Yeah, but she's trying. She's out there tap dancing, that's for sure. So, good for her. I'd love to see a nice shuffle off to Buffalo. Good luck, girl. I don't think it's working, but good luck to you. All right, huge news in Bravo this week. Huge. And I know that everybody's super upset. I know we've already gone from Karen's police trauma to 3 apologies, but it's about to get darker. Raquel is leaving Hollywood, guys. She's shutting down. Actually, she's not shutting down her podcast. I think she's getting. I guess she's getting fired if she's leaving it. But she is leaving LA to focus on her new life, dating a brain surgeon. LOL. I literally died when I read that.
Wow.
Come on, really? Is he operating on you? Is he giving you some free work? You might want to ask him to help out a little bit while you got him.
I think technically it's actually a rocket scientist.
Oh,
which is even funnier.
Get the rocket scientist.
Where it's like when you say it doesn't take a rocket scientist to date Raquel, apparently it does.
My bad. Sorry, Raquel. But that would be funny if she was like, could you help fix my brain? You're a rocket scientist.
It is the most poetic twist.
I have a million thoughts on this. First of all, what do we think really happened? Do we think the podcast was like not successful? Do we think she really just didn't want to do it? Okay, so we think there's the bottom line, right? Because to your point, Ronnie, somebody else is going to go rogue. So they're just going to post up a new podcast artwork, like with someone, I don't know, whoever else goes rogue.
Tamara goes rogue.
Tamara goes rogue.
I think it'll be someone like Joe or Charlie. I saw people speculating Charlie or someone else who was just kind of burned on the show and then left. Well, I don't know that Raquel was really burned. I'm not going to say she was burned, but you know what I mean? That feels like a victim, and it was just kind of a flash in the pan type of thing.
I have to imagine either like there was creative differences, it really wasn't going that well. And I mean, I think we all kind of thought like, unless she's going to lean into talking about Vanderpump Rules, what else does she, I don't know. I don't think people are going to come to her for mental health updates.
Or anything. I think the thing is that like the moment is over. I mean, or anything. Sorry, maybe like how to like model with a surfboard, but like she is, Scandival was the craziest thing, but we're now like 18 months away from it. The world has changed. We have other pressing things on our mind. There have been a billion other podcasts that have come out, and like No, it was like her podcast was not one that anyone wanted in the first place. It's literally like she had like the XFL of podcasts. And so I think people tuned in,
Mhm.
like they were curious. They wanted to know what was going on. I'm sorry, I watched the Vince McMahon documentary over the weekend, and
Me
like
too.
obviously I'm like every reference is gonna be like she's like the ultimate warrior of waitresses. But I think that like there was no way that was going to sustain like any sort of longevity. Like she's not interesting enough on her own, and it's just like, yeah, it's time. It's time for her
And
to
her
now go off
content
to the
was
sunset.
basically like, oh, wow, Katie posted something and she mentioned that she didn't like beige. And I remember one time I was hanging with my bestie, Katie, back when we were really close, and Katie did like beige. I think Katie's a liar, and I have a therapist here to talk us through that. It's like, oh my God, go outside. Like, how long are you going to hold on to this? You've got nothing. Okay. You've got nothing. Go away. And she
Yeah.
is. And good for her. I mean, I guess with a rocket scientist, she'll get out of here very quickly. Okay. Because they don't move slowly, rocket scientists.
Yeah.
They spout up in the air. You see their big neon clouds here in Los Angeles all the time.
They are active in their own things that they build. So, but meanwhile, Tom Sandoval has his girlfriend. That situation is heating up, and apparently, I guess the talk is that they're going to be moving in together. Sandoval and Victoria Lee Robinson. Did you hear about this? Do you care? Do you know about anything? What do you think, Sarah, about Sandoval and his new girlfriend?
Well, they've been together almost a year, right? Which is in Sandoval years, that's like, I mean, a decade, right? I mean, although he was with Ariana for 9, but how faithful he was, who knows? So look, I mean, I guess they're happy. He claims that she's helping him through a lot of things and that she's been this real stability for him. So, I mean, good
I'm
for
sure.
Tom.
Sure, that's
I
sure
mean,
she's bringing real stability over there. She looks real stable. I've only seen her in pictures. I've never heard her speak. I know nothing about her except what I've seen in pictures. She looks very heroin chic. And then Billy Lee from seasons past, has her own shit talking show. And she wormed her way back onto the show to be Tom's friend when nobody else would be his friend. And then they had a big breakup because he like cut her off or something. And she was like, yeah, all he does is like do drugs with his girlfriend. And then they fight. And it's just so horrible. They just have screaming and yelling matches and they're really violent. And I don't think physically, but she was just saying it's like a horror show over there, that they're basically just these huge drug addicts who fight, tooth and nail all the time. And so I was like, okay, well, I like her, sign her on, I say. Sounds great.
Yeah. Dude, like she's really helping with like stability. Like she holds up the Philippines lights when I'm like trying to prop him up. Like that stability is like so invaluable.
Where is she moving into? The house that he had with Ariana? Like, isn't
I
he
guess so.
there?
Yeah, he's there with Schwartz. Schwartz is moving in there, and I guess they're both paying 10 grand each a month for. Wasn't that what they said on the show, that their mortgage was going to be like 20 grand?
Something like that. I don't know. I mean, we don't even know what's going on with the show. Like, I mean, I have to assume it's coming back despite everything, even though it felt like the end. It's just it's too popular for Bravo just to end it. So I think Bravo's going to like revamp it and whatever. But like at the same time, it's been a while since it's been on the air. So I don't know what money they're all making right now.
And don't you think Tom is headed to the Valley? Tom and Victoria are going to help.
I hope not. I don't. It's like the Valley carved out its own like niche for itself very successfully, more successfully than any of us expected. And it was actually so good that I don't want other people coming in and bringing in their years of reality TV experience. We already have Jax and Kristen on there, which is great. But like, we don't need Vanderpump Rules to come in because then we're just watching Vanderpump Rules. Like the Valley has its own thing, and we have lots of new people who have yet to fall into all the traps that await them as reality stars. And like, I don't want that ruined by like old standbys coming in.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't think they're needed, but I guess they feel like they have to put them somewhere, which is so weird. You don't have to put them anywhere. Put them on the back burner, to make them hungry and desperate again, and then they'll start, acting like they need the show again instead of the other way around. But the other two on that show, Katie and Schwartz, are doing, I still think these two are in love. I don't care. Nobody's going to ever talk me out of it. I totally see a vibe there. And this is proof that they're at least thinking about each other, because they're releasing PR statements at the same time about dating other people. Katie has a new boyfriend, and then another news story pops up the next day. Tom Schwartz has a new girlfriend. I'm like, oh, you two, stop wasting everybody's time and just go back to ruining each other's lives like any other miserable couple, you know?
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think, Sarah, that these two are trying to communicate with each other via other relationships in this way?
That's such a great take. I was gonna say I feel like they're really done. They just are they just don't mix. Like she just seems like he's so immature for her, and Schwartz is just like out to lunch. I don't know. I feel like they have quit each other and they have moved on. She seems like really smitten with this new rocker, although people have red flags about him because he's not fully divorced yet.
Oh
But
God.
oh yeah, that was like a post story. But she seems like, I thought when she announced it, she was pretty happy. And I think people are ready, don't you? I don't know. I don't think
She
she's
looks happy. I guess when I say that they're still hung up on each other, I don't know that they'll necessarily ever get back together, but I think that they'll always have that flame burning for each other. Look, I've had my opinions change over the years, back and forth with Katie, mostly a not like way. But they've gone back and forth. But I have to say, Katie's love language is kind of disdain. It's like a word from earlier in this episode. It's disdain, and it's like annoyance with the person she's with. That's her love language. She needs to kind of not like whatever's going on around her, and I get it. I'm similar. But I think that that's kind of her attraction to Schwartz, is that she doesn't like him, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
But then
no,
she
I get
can
it.
like him. And so I don't know who this guy is. It's a new boyfriend is sleeping with Sirens musician Nick Martin. They met through mutual friends in the music industry. So page 6 can confirm that, guys. And they bonded over music, which is great. And he also runs a coffee company named Charlie Royal. So I don't know. Looks
Wow.
cute. His pants are very tight, but I think that's just 2024, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to talk about before we send you on your way, Sarah. This is nothing to do with the Vanderpump Rules, but it's a story that caught my attention over the past week, and I don't feel like anyone's really talking about it. But I saw that Bravo elected to not renew Project Runway, and as a result, Project Runway is headed to Freeform TV. And I want to know how both of you guys feel about this. Do you feel like Bravo had an obligation, not an obligation, but like, would we have liked Bravo to have picked it up again? Like, do we think this is like, do we think Freeform TV is the right place for it? Like, what do you guys think about the future of Project Runway?
Yes, that's the perfect place because I didn't even know it was still on Bravo. So yeah, I think that's great. Did you? I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's been gone for a while. It's been gone for like almost 2 years, I think.
Yeah. Did anyone know that was not that it was even still on? No clue. No, it's ready. It's ready for its
Yeah, I
next
don't think it was 2 years, was it? I don't
It's-
think we covered the last season, but it was last year.
Well,
But,
either way, at least 18 months or so.
I don't know. I
been
wonder
on.
if Freeform is like an audition ground, because Jeff was on Freeform. Jeff Lewis did his Hollywood Housewives thing on Freeform, and they didn't pick the. I thought the network died. Wait, he was on some.
No, I think that was
Freevee.
Freevee.
Oh, it's another free thing in the title. Okay, never mind.
Freebie. This is a whole nother network with free in it?
Freeform
Isn't this the
is like
Christian one?
Disney. No, Freeform is what it's like what Grownish is on. It's like this. It's like it used to be like the ABC Family Network. It's where Pretty Little Liars was on it.
Oh,
it's like
Pretty
this,
Little Liars. Yeah,
it's
I
like
watched
this
that one.
network that kind of has never quite been able to nail down its identity. And I just feel like it's such a. It was like weird when it went to Lifetime, and then came back to Bravo, and I was like, oh, it's back, yay! But now to see it go off to Freeform, I feel very sad about this. I feel like this is not the way we kill off our legacy shows.
What, the end of an era? Truly,
I think so.
Didn't even know it was still on in any form in Bravo.
Well, that's probably why Bravo did not renew it. So anyway, on that note, Sarah, thank you so much for coming over and like gabbing with us about all this stuff and filling us in about your Something About Her drama and your Jim Bellino hot takes or inside scoop. It's really a pleasure having you on here.
Truly, it's an honor. I love you guys. Ben, you're going to be on my show coming up. Ronnie, you got to come on. You guys are so funny. And just what you've done with your podcast is just unfreaking believable in your brand. So, and Ronnie, you were at BravoCon. I can't believe I missed you, but hopefully in 2025, we will.
Yeah, that would be great. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on. Everybody go follow
Thanks,
Sarah Fraser. You can find her on podcast places, Instagram, all the regulars. Her YouTube channel is great. Go check her out, everybody. Thanks, Sarah. If
Bye,
you guys
guys.
want to
Sarah.
stick around and talk to us live, that's what we will be doing right now. And for the rest of you, we will see you next time. Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
We're fanning out for Bethany Fannin.
Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Dana C, Dana Do.
Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know Your Worth with Jason Kurth.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson.
Rigging the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino.
Let's get feely with Maggie Sheely.
Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
Cast a Spell with Shannon Spellman. The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish. She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch. She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender. The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
Give him hell, Miss Noel. Ring that bell for Rachel. She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke. Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.